Doctors were recently asked on Reddit a simple question: what health trend is getting way worse than people realize? And the answers honestly stopped me in my tracks. And part of the reason is because just yesterday, I witnessed a family. They were out on their e bikes or e scooters. No one had helmets. I saw the mom, who looked like she was in her 40s or probably early 50s, riding one of those scooters. She hit a crack in the pavement, lost control, and flipped forward multiple times before hitting the ground. And it was a pretty bad fall. It happened so fast that there was nothing anyone can do except run over and help. So, my immediate reaction after checking to make sure she was okay was, I'd rather walk. I'm good. So then I came across this discussion, which I think our phones are pretty messy, where physicians, nurses, and other healthcare professionals were talking about the health trends they see every day that worry them the most. So these are some of the screenshots. The list is long and you can go online and read the whole list yourself, but these are some of the ones I highlighted. The number of patients who have preventable STDs, but who would rather get on medication after getting said STDs, not caring that the meds are lifelong. Someone else said, came here to say this one. The number of people unwilling to just wear a condom in 2026 is absolutely wild. So we're just willingly getting STIs. Physician here, the amount of difficulty to get teenagers, young adults to get information like their vaccine record for forms, family medical history, or just basic steps to succeed in life worries me a lot. Hoping to minimize that with our kids, but it's an uphill battle. This is interesting because I remember, and again, I'm a lot older than most would think, but I remember when I was a young teen or a preteen, I had no idea about my vaccine history, my family medical history. So I think those are conversations we should be having. And I don't think it's just not the norm to have those conversations. Usually the parents are just the gatekeepers of that information. But I honestly, truly think, especially if you're a teenager, you should know this information. So this is a actually good one. I had a discussion on a related topic with my GP. He had added a PSA check to my labs, didn't want to scare me into thinking he suspected prostate cancer. Then, out of nowhere, he mentioned that he had a lot of older patients who were refusing to get routine cancer checks like colonoscopies or endoscopies. But the justification wasn't that they didn't want the procedures, it was that they didn't want to spend money on treatment because they needed to leave it to their kids and grandkids. What? This is what I'm talking about. When we're saying that this is the price of these healthcare policies and people losing insurance, people are stripping actual benefits like screenings that are life saving. This is what we're talking about. That's crazy. And this is the one I saw. I was like, yep, e-scooters and e-bikes are quickly becoming one of the top reasons for a visit to the ER. They go way too fast. People ride them irresponsibly on the sidewalk instead of on the street. I work downtown where e-scooters are prevalent, and I've seen a bunch of collisions between riders and pedestrians. Most have been fairly benign with a couple of scrapes. However, a few have been really bad, with one or both being knocked unconscious and several broken bones. I saw someone comment on this, and I believe it was a physician from a different country, saying, and I think it was Ireland, that e-scooters and e-bikes is the number one cause of brain injuries in children, traumatic brain injuries. Wow. Family doc here, general distrust of medicine. I recommend starting a statin to reduce cholesterol and lower heart attack risk. Oh, I read online statins could cause cancer. I'll just try to eat better. Spoiler, they never do. I recommend getting pneumonia, shingles vaccines now that you're over 50. I don't trust that stuff. Do you know what they put in them? That in the same breath, they'll ask for a GLP-1, but not want to actually make any lifestyle changes. Make it make sense. And then these are my last two I'm going to highlight. I'm running into a distrust of the safety of radiation in radiology imaging. People are refusing routine x-rays and CT scans for fear of the radiation. but they're not afraid of the disease I suspect they have, which is why I ordered the scan in the first place. So, how do people expect our clinicians to diagnose them? Ugh. And then this one I've actually reported on multiple times. Parents are now refusing vitamin K shots for newborns, putting babies at risk for dangerous bleeding. It seems to get lumped in with vaccine refusal. Got to see my first newborn death from this a few weeks ago. Massive head bleed. Family then proceeds to get their church and everyone they know involved, praying for a miracle. And the baby died. So what really struck me about all of this. At first glance, these look like completely separate problems. Different ages, different risks, different diagnoses, different decisions. But the more I thought about this, the more I realized that these are not separate stories at all. They may actually be the same story showing up in different ways. Because underneath a lot of these decisions is a deeper issue: trust. Trust in healthcare, trust in science, trust in institutions, trust in public health, trust in the information people receive every single day. And before anyone rushes in the comments, I'm not saying that every concern that people have is irrational. Healthcare systems have absolutely given people reasons to ask difficult questions. Patients should ask questions, and I advocate that all the time. But when distrust becomes so overwhelming that people refuse prevention, refuse screening, refuse evidence based care, or turn to misinformation instead, that's when the consequences become very real. So maybe the question isn't why people are making these choices. Most people can tell you exactly why. Question I'm most interested in is this: how do we rebuild trust? How do we help people feel confident enough to make informed decisions before there's a crisis instead of after one? Because whether we're talking about an e-scooter injury, STIs, vaccine hesitancy, cancer screenings, imaging studies, or newborn vitamin K shots, the common thread isn't politics, it's trust.